I have to admit that in the last few years I've become quite the Apple fan. It started in 2007 when the original iPhone came out. Now, that was the first smartphone of its kind at that time, at least in Germany where I was living then. And I completely ignored it because I didn't need an expensive contract, and at that time I believe the only contract they had was like 50 euros a month, and the plans were very limited. So I said to myself, well, that's something I definitely don't need. And so it wasn't until November of that year that I was with a group of friends, and one of them had one. And I said to him, well, what's that? He said, oh, that's the iPhone. I said, oh, really? And he said, yeah, look at this. And he showed me some pictures and, and a lot of the other functions it could do and things like that. And I said to myself, well, that's really cool. But I don't need one because I don't want the contract or the commitment. And in early December of that year, I went looking at a store called Media Market. It's like Best Buy in Germany. Same type of thing, almost the same setup, but it's for the European market, obviously. And I was looking for something that could play videos because I had a 12-hour flight from Düsseldorf to Bangkok in the middle of the month, and the airplane, if I remember correctly, didn't have video monitors, or only had like 3 on the entire plane. And I didn't want to sit there bored out of my mind on a 12-hour flight. I mean, I did take a few books, but sometimes you just have to veg out and listen to music or watch a few videos or whatever. And so I looked at a few different ones, and then I saw what was called an iPod Touch, or what is called an iPod Touch, I should say. And I asked the guy about it, and he said, well, it's basically the iPhone without the phone bits. And I said, well, that sounds pretty cool. And so I bought one, and I used it, and I absolutely loved it. So that was the first generation iPod Touch. And I had it until 2010, when the 4th generation iPod Touch came out, because the 2nd and 3rd generations didn't really do anything that mine didn't do. But the 4th generation had a camera on it. And I said to myself, well, that's really cool. And so I went ahead and I bought one of those. And that was in February of 2010. And it was awesome. Well, notice I said it was awesome. That's because I sold it last week on eBay and shipped it off, and my first real experience selling on eBay, and it was a pretty good experience, because I wanted a 5th generation iPod Touch. Now, I didn't want it only because it was a 5th generation. I wanted it also because of the fact that not only did it have all the features that my 4th generation had, but it was a good opportunity because it also came with a lot of the Apple software at no additional charge. iWorks and iLife, and so that included iMovie, Pages, Numbers, etc. And those cost $10 each. And they are things that I will use. So, in the sense, instead of paying $249, I probably paid about $240. Sorry, yeah, they cost $1 each, right? No, I paid about $200, which I thought was a very good deal. In addition to that, in 2011, was it 11? Yeah, 2011. I used my income tax refund to buy an iPad. I went for the 16 gigabyte refurbished iPad 2, and I love it. And then this year, I decided that I could afford a smartphone Well, I decided I wanted to afford a smartphone, I guess is a better way of saying it. And so what I did was I went ahead and saw that my carrier had a smartphone for $150, and the monthly contract was incredibly affordable. And so I said to myself, well, what the heck? And I ordered that. And I knew exactly what I was getting. It was an iPhone 3GS. And yes, that is several models behind. And it will not hold iOS 7. But that's okay. Because my iPad and my iPod Touch will hold iOS 7. Or will run iOS 7 is what I should say. Not hold, but run. So, in addition to all those, my cable bill went up so that I was paying, let's see, I was paying more than $100 a month for cable, a landline, and internet. And so I got rid of my landline, and I got rid of my cable. And to replace those, I bought an Apple TV. So that would be last year, last September actually. For those who don't know what an Apple TV is, it has different icons on it. It looks a lot like an iPod Touch or an iPhone screen, and it allows you to stream from apps or from your Apple devices right to your TV. Just plug it in and then it does it wirelessly. And that's turned out to be very good too, because since I don't have cable, I can watch many TV shows on, let's see, I can download an app to any of my 3 devices, and I can go ahead and just send them wirelessly from my devices over to the Apple TV. So that works out well too. I have no idea what the people in the car are screaming about. Those would be traffic cameras. I didn't know they had them here. So, there you have it. That's sort of my history with Apple. So I currently have a 5th generation iPod Touch that I got last Friday, an iPhone 3GS, and an iPad 2, and of course the good old Apple TV. I wouldn't really say that I'm as they say these days, a fanboy of Apple, meaning a fanatic or something like that, but the 3 products have done very well. So, why not? Of course, yes, I realize they are expensive. Trust me, I know they are expensive. And I would love to have a Mac, but yeah, that's not going to happen. I do use an iMac at work, and I like it a lot because it's a lot more stable than Windows. But I don't really see an iMac in my future. Perhaps a Mac Mini next year, I don't know. But no, an iMac or a MacBook is not going to happen. Let's see if they've changed this intersection yet again. Hello. So, how about you? Do you use Apple products? How did you start? When did you start? Are you hooked, or just someone who uses them because they're pretty good quality and they do what you want them to do? Anyway, this is the Florida Rider signing off.